following is a paid political announcement.
This is Marty Dolan. I ran against Jamal Bowman and AOC because I believe New York City needs to turn away from socialism after 5 years of disastrous policies. Now I'm running for public advocate so we can get New York City back to basics and focus on the municipal excellence you deserve. Go to martydolan.org to find out how you can help. I'm Marty Dolan. I approve this message, paid for by Marty Dolan for office.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
$8:51 Friday morning for me and Justin, at least, our last show from America until Columbus Day. Next week, we'll come live from the Middle East. That just sounds so funny. Israel, Monday through Thursday, no show on Friday. Shabbos back in these studios a week from Monday the 14th because that's Columbus Day. And my dear friend Angelo Vivolo, who runs that show every year, he's the man. He invites me every year. He's a huge fan of this show. He's a dear friend, also a dear friend of John and Margot. And for the last 3 years, he put me in a Cadillac convertible. And in fact, 2 years ago, Joseph Tacopina, who's set to join me, he was in the car with me. Oh, excuse me, not 2 years ago, last year. Tac was the last one. So I was planning on going back in Frankie's car. And then I got a text from Angelo, who just got back from Rome, and he said, you've been promoted. I said, what do you mean? The convertible Cadillac's a big deal. No. There's a car at the front of the parade. It's an Alfa Romeo, and we're putting you in that. I said, really? So that's the deal. So the following Monday, not this Monday, but our first show back in America, the 14th, we'll do the show. I'll walk down to Fifth Avenue, and I'll hop in an Alfa Romeo, thanks to the great Angelo Vivolo, and we'll celebrate Columbus Day with Joe Piscopo and the whole crew. But I did mention Joseph Tacopina is coming up next. Famed defense attorney, best defense attorney anywhere in the world, and more importantly, my buddy for the better part of 47 years. Joe, what's going on this morning?
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Billy Plotkin says hello. You know the great Bill Plotkin?
Of course. It's great. Are you really going to go?
Yeah, I leave tomorrow.
Please.
If you were my attorney, you'd advise me not to go?
No, not as your attorney, as your brother. I would advise you not to go. I mean, I want you to sit. It's amazing what you're doing, first of all.
Thank you.
I applaud you, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
And it's so important. I understand. But for God's sakes, be careful. I mean, it's not. I mean, seriously, I think about this a lot. I'm like, is he really going to go still? And I know you are. And I know who you are. I know how important it is to you. But it is really, you're doing something that is beyond courageous, and I know why you're doing it. But it is, it's something that I pray to God.
I know you're being sincere, but folks that don't know, a lot of people come on the air and say this stuff. Tac has texted me a bunch of times the last couple of days. Are you sure? You really want to do this? You're going? So you have been thinking about it, which is means a lot to me. But we're going to do it. Look, the bombing stopped from Iran a couple of days ago. I'm really not worried about the missiles, the rockets. I'm worried about what we saw that same day, which is a couple of crazy Palestinians gunning down 10 people in Tel Aviv and killing 7 of them. That could happen anytime, anywhere, certainly. But they are moving on. They're celebrating Rosh Hashanah in Israel right now, Joseph, day 2.
Yeah.
All my friends, I talked to, on any given day, 10 people at the same time in Israel, and they're moving on. So if they can do it, Sid from Brooklyn can do it, right?
You got it. I mean, you got it. Listen, they are a strong lot, those Israelis. I mean, they are as tough as they come. And, you're in with a group of people who are ferociously protective. But of course, and I'm sure they're not going to want anything to happen if they treat you like, royalty now from the United States because you've embraced their cause and they love you and that's great. But, just be careful, brother.
It's reminiscent. You say embrace their cause. They love you. for people that don't know this, Joseph Tacopina, in one country in this world, one of my favorite countries, they refer to him as, you ready for this? Sir Joseph Tacopina. So, yes, when I go to Israel, they are rolling out the red carpet. I'm going to have dinner with the president of Israel, Isaac Bouzi Herzog, on Thursday. There's a very good chance I'm going to see Bibi on Tuesday. Trump is calling into my show on Monday. Oh, yeah, it's a big deal. But when you're in Italy, you're a sir. That's how much they love you there.
They knighted me in Italy, which makes me the least meritorious knight in the history of knights. But, I mean...
Wait a second. Didn't your soccer team win the championship?
Well, it's because I'm the only president in Italian football history to win 3 promotions in a row. And I guess that, to Italians, that means I merit knighthood.
That's a big deal.
In most countries, you have to, have a cure for cancer.
Right, right. You win soccer. They love football over there.
Beatles, right.
But no, wait, and now, correct me. I was talking about that now. Did you buy a team now in Wales where Ava goes to college?
In Liverpool, we are a group of investors, which includes some high-profile people. Some celebrities are looking to purchase, with my guidance, a team in Liverpool.
Got it.
Tranmere. Yeah, so it's not
close.
Right next to Wales.
Home of the Beatles. Yes, home of the Beatles. Liverpool, yes, and England.
Exactly.
Not bad. All right, so let's get to some of the pressing legal issues. It's already been a fun conversation. I love you. Thank you, Johnny Tobacco. I got your text, too. Let's get to Jack Smith. Look, the election is a month from tomorrow. It's here. That's it, right? I mean, a month from tomorrow. It's here. And everybody you speak to who's being rational, not these crazy Democrats like Bruce Springsteen, anybody who's rational will tell you it looks like Trump is going to win, and maybe even easier than we would have thought a couple of months ago. Jack Smith, I believe, is desperate to interfere with this election, but I don't see anything coming of this. You're the lawyer. Is Jack Smith desperate, or does he have something?
Well, I think what's clear from the latest filing is he's desperate to prove that Trump's campaign activities were unofficial acts, and there's some nefarious actions there. I don't think a court's going to see it that way. Look, the bottom line is this recent bombshell revelation that some of the media outlets have deemed a bombshell is nothing more than everything we've already heard, right? It's the same thing. There's nothing new in here. The way they were previewing this thing is like there was going to be some bombshell text messages or some statements from witnesses that were specifically attributed to President Trump about these events on January 6th, and you have nothing. I mean, there is really absolutely nothing. He has to prove specific intent, meaning Trump's actual belief that he had lost the election. That's a key element to this case. And, if you know the president like I do, and I know you do, he believes he won the election. I mean, that's a fact. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what he believes, and specific intent is important here. So, the question of whether he lost the election is not really the key question that this case will revolve around. So anyway, look, I think this filing was strategically done at a particular time that really makes it look like it is trying to interfere with the election, because it's done at a time where, it's why now? Why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
2 months before the election. And it's just
timing a little rough. I've been watching TAC. It's funny. I watched a little bit because of Danielle on Netflix, this Menendez brothers story. And I remembered, of course, people that forget, they actually shared a jail cell initially, or right next to, I should say, to O.J. Simpson. That's how long this dates back. Right next to each other, jail cells. And I remember the boys said they were abused and they murdered their parents, and kind of Lyle and Eric Menendez. And now I guess it's coming up again, just like Scott Peterson came up a couple of months ago. But I haven't seen anything following this story over the years that says to me that these kids, what they did was right, that they were really abused and treated horribly and they had to protect their own lives. I haven't seen that. Have you?
No. I mean, obviously not from this television series. You haven't seen it. I mean, this paints them in obviously a horrific light. The great freedom fighter Kim Kardashian is now taking up their cause.
I see. Hey, listen, she got Alice Johnson out of prison. That was a big one.
I know. And that's, she has an audience, and she has an audience with people and who listen, and good for her. I mean that sincerely, but it's funny. But anyway, to me, as someone who really appreciates the intellectual aspects of the law and what it stands for, but okay, listen, we're in a different world now, a different society where influencers and social media mean a lot more than I think it should.
Yeah, agreed.
But it does.
Agreed.
But anyway, here we are. And so I haven't seen anything. To overturn a case like this, don't forget you've been through courts and appeals and appellate process. It's not like there's a reasonable doubt. That's not here anymore. That's not what the standard is. It has to be actual innocence at this point. And basically this is going to have to be a political thing. That's what's going to have to be some part in someone letting him out. And who knows? But I know she's arguing that they should be freed. They're not monsters.
She does have Trump's here. She wanted Trump and got Alice Johnson out. So who knows if he wins?
Who knows? I know. Who knows? But this is a little different.
I know.
It's a state court.
Yeah, these kids are
right. It's state. But it's also state court.
Yeah.
So the president doesn't have jurisdiction over state court matters. So look, let's see. But they were found guilty. They appealed it up the chain right to the top,
and they lost everyone. They lost everyone. Yeah.
So I don't know if they're guilty or innocent, but I do know. Look, the DA in L.A., who I know very well and is a very good prosecutor, George Gascon, announced that he's going to be reviewing the evidence. He has a moral and ethical obligation to do it. By the way, if there's anyone that's going to let these guys out, this prosecutor is one of those.
He's the one. No, of course. No, I know. I know.
The guy who was like, someone who is not really who the law enforcement.
Right. No, I know. Gascon, I know all about him. So, the next 4 minutes, I got two more quick stories. Give me the latest update tack on P. Diddy. What's going on there?
Yeah, the pylon is just happening. Now you got some guy with a pink tie from Texas, a lawyer who comes up and says, I have 150 new cases. I mean, first of all, I'm curious how 150 clients knew to call him. So I think that's someone out there hunting for cases, but 150. And where were 150 of these women, assuming they're women, over the last 20 years? Why they all come together now? I mean, it's the obvious pylon, okay, sort of kicking the dog while he's down, right? But, so now he's being piled on there, obviously.
And he's still in jail. He's still in jail. I mean, I talked to you. Alan Dershowitz was on a couple of days ago, and I said, Tacopina said he shouldn't be in jail. And Dershowitz said, Tacopina's 100% right. He shouldn't be in jail.
Yeah, here's where I would have changed my bail application that they made to the court. They said, look, he could stay in his mansion in Miami. We'll give him a bracelet so he can't leave the house and around-the-clock security. The problem with that is he's in a mansion in Miami. The case in New York. This doesn't sound. I would say he'll rent an apartment in New York City. He'll rent an apartment in New York City, and he'll have security here, and that'll be it. And he doesn't need to be in a mansion in Miami. I mean, let's make it not feel so giddy. So,
yeah, that's probably true. A little apartment in New York City it'll just look better on his bed. So in the final 60 seconds, Tack, you and I, our childhood together, you were weird with football. You were like, one day you were a Minnesota Viking fan, then you were an Oakland Raider fan. I don't know.
No, I was always an Oakland Raider fan.
But you had the Joe Sensor jersey.
Because of Joe Sensor. I'm a tight end fanatic. You know that. Speaking of which. The Miami Hurricanes have the next great tight end of all time.
Yes, they always do.
Elijah Arroyo.
Don't they always Jeremy Shockey and
Shockey, Olsen.
There's a million of them.
Olsen. I mean, a million of
them. The kid in
Olsen.
Cleveland right now. What is his name? The guy in Cleveland.
Njoku. Yes,
he's a good one too. They've always had those tight ends. No, listen, the Hurricanes, that was a nice comeback, but the fact that the game was that close scares the hell out of me. Vatek is not a good team. And
Vatek is a good team.
No, they're not.
They are. They've
lost
all their games by less than 3
I don't care. I don't care. You're number 7 in the country. You're a 3-touchdown favorite at home. You don't win that game in the final couple of seconds.
They played like garbage.
Listen, we've been over this. That's a major step. That's a bad step last week. That's a step backwards. I don't care if they won.
Here's what the old Canes would have done. They lose that game.
Okay. Well, guess what? They're going to play teams a lot better than Vatek, and they're going to lose that game.
Yeah. No, they're not. They're coming back from this with ferocity.
I hope so.
I literally have spoke to the coaches this week, and I wanted to hear what they were saying, and they said, this team now has a chip on their shoulder. They're going to
Oh,
learn.
God.
Look,
Jesus. Okay.
there's two ways.
Listen to me. You know what team has a chip on their shoulder? Forget about the Hurricanes. I've heard this for 25 years. You know what's got a chip on their shoulder? You know what's got a chip?
Yeah.
The Mets have a chip on their shoulder. That team wins.
That was nice. That was nice, man. Oh my God. Pete Alonso. Was so happy for him, man, because he is a Met through and through, and I was so happy for him, man. He's just a real. Oh my God, that was so beautiful.
And he takes such a beating. He takes such. Oh,
He takes such a beating.
Peterson is one of the best pitchers in baseball this year.
No doubt, no doubt. And what he came in there and did, I mean, there's a weird chemistry there. If you look at their starting pitching, at the beginning of the season, and I think you and I talked about it, we'd be, oh my God, we don't have an ace. We don't have a star starting pitcher. Not one. We're the New York Mets.
Right.
We don't have one.
No.
And those four primarily, have been amazing. Sean Manaea is one of the best pitchers in baseball.
He's been great. He's been great. And then look at the job that Quintana did last night. It's been an unbelievable season. It's been a lot of fun. I don't want it to end, so hopefully we get the Phillies tomorrow. We keep this thing going. I don't want this conversation to end either, but I got to go. I got to go to Israel. So I love you. I will talk to you next week from Israel. I love you. Thank you for the constant texts and the love and the support. I'll be fine. We'll talk next week. Okay, pal?
Okay, my brother.
All right. My man, Joseph Tacopina. Love that guy. Best defense attorney in the world.